guys, welcome again at Propcoach. Today I want to talk to you about something very interesting, what a lot of real estate agents deal with every single day. Because this is something that I call the objection of your seller in wanting to renegotiate your commission fee. And this is always something that is not very easy to deal with for real estate agents, because I know for a fact that many of the clients that I have always come back with me of how can I, reply to a seller when he starts discussing or negotiating my commission fee. So let me just tell you one thing very clearly. If your seller is negotiating your fee, he clearly doesn't understand a few things, because negotiating your commission fee, he doesn't really understand your value yet, right? You weren't able to explain him yet what your value is in helping him sell the property and helping him to promote the property to sell it at the highest price possible in this market. So, but there are also a few other things that your seller may not understand, because one thing that I always realize, they only look at the money. Either, I've been traveling in the world, some countries, they ask 1.5% as commission. Other countries go up to 4, 5, sometimes even 6%, So the difference is a little bit of what your seller only sees is money, right? He thinks, well, it's going to be a big difference if instead of 3%, I just pay 2%, at the end of the day. So if that's the case, he clearly hasn't worked with a professional yet, a professional like yourself, right? So it's your job not to sell to him, not to convince him. You have to educate him in what your value is if he wants to sell this property with you. And the last thing that you have to understand is that your seller usually doesn't know how a property is actually sold. So what are the things that a real estate agent, and I can tell you, I once made a list, and it's sometimes even it's even more than 180 like to-do points that an agent has to basically go through to get a property sold from A all the way to Z. So you have to make sure that you explain to him very well, sir, do you know how a property is sold? What are the things that we need to do to get the property sold? And then probably usually they would understand that your value is actually much more worth than they were expecting. But let me give you just 5 very important reasons why you should never negotiate your commission. Because these reasons, once they make sense to you, you won't even want to renegotiate your commission no more. So let's get started with number 1. So number 1, first things first. If you will be willing to renegotiate your commission, you're basically hurting the confidence of your client already. Because as your commission goes down, the confidence of your client also goes down. If you're not able to hold your value, he would see that you would probably not be the best in the market. And you want to hold that value at the highest rate, because that's also how you convince them that you are the best person they could pick to sell their property. So that's number 1. Let's move on to reason number 2. Number 2. What you have to realize is that either this client that you met for the first time, or maybe the second or the third time, you know your value better than your client. He just met you. He doesn't know what you're going to do and what he can expect from you. You made him some promises, you made him some explanations in how you are going to market his property, but at the end, he doesn't understand the value yet. So for you as a top salesperson, you have to make sure that you explain him the value, but even better, educate him on how that value works. So you understand the value better than your client. It's just your job to educate him that he also understands it like you do. So let's move on to number 3. Number 3. Your clients think that from all the commission that you make, you put it in your pocket and you're going to just enjoy life. most people don't understand that your real estate career is not actually a career, it's a real business. Out of that money that you get from the commission, you pay your marketing, you pay your taxes, you pay your car, your phone, everything. It's like running a real business. So they have to also understand that whatever they want to cut from this commission, it also will affect in how you would be able to market this property. So them putting down the commission means less resources, less possibilities in chances to sell this property. So you have to make sure that this is well explained, and that by lowering the commission fee is actually stopping the possibilities to really be able to sell this property. Okay, that was for number 3. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4. So, what's the difference between a Ferrari and a Volkswagen? Well, you get the point, right? But you have to also reassure to your client that you are the best, right? And by negotiating this commission fee, you probably are not going to give him the feeling that you are the best. So keeping your standard, keeping the price because you know that is your value, you basically reassuring to him, listen sir, I'm the best that you can get. So don't start negotiating on that front, because once you go down, you cannot go back up. Make sure you keep it. Let's go move on to the last one, number 5. Number 5 is actually a reason that I would always use when sellers really start wanting to negotiate the commission fee with you. And I would just tell them the following. Sir or madam, Mr. or Mrs. Client, if you think that I would so easily negotiate on my own commission fee, how easy would I negotiate once we start selling your property, right? Because also for them, you want to keep the price as high as possible. Your goal is, once you get that listing, you would sell that property at the highest possible price. So at the same time, you say, listen, I will not be easy on my negotiations once, you know, the buyer would be sitting up, across me and start asking me to negotiate. As well, I don't do it for my own commission fee. So make sure that that's already a point where you can prove to him that you are a strong negotiator. So that was number 5. So that's basically it. I hope it really helped you. I really want to encourage you that once you set the standard for your commission fee, either it's, you know, in Europe, in the United States, or in Asia, you have to stay strong. These are your standards, this is your value, and you have to believe in it that it's your value, and never negotiate on your own value. And to make sure that you practice this in a well way, I always say the following. Don't sell yourself. Don't convince your client in paying you the right commission fee, but always educate him. Educate him in what your value is, and I will make sure that if you keep practicing that for the long run, you will never have to do hard negotiations with your seller again. Okay, good luck, and start selling those properties.